My journey into recovery was a hectic one. I'd been fighting for years, constantly on that same wheel, jumping off, coming back on, not knowing what to do with myself, not knowing where to go and not knowing how to start. And when I look back on it now, I actually had all the supports there, but didn't know how to use them. What really happened was I got fed up. I'd had a dramatic experience, very, very dramatic experience, and decided this was it for me. So what could I do? What I did was I ended up in a women's refuge, and it was the staff there that asked if I'd ever thought of going into treatment. They put me in touch then with Cahill, and I started attending a place up in Blanchardstown called Adapt twice a week. Went in, did my treatment, spent 15 months in Cahill, up and down to the usual happens in treatment centres, you know what I mean? You get on with girls, you don't get on with girls, just have yous are falling out. But what it learned me was how to be able to deal with my emotions, and in particular my anger towards others when I thought that they were doing me wrong, and constantly looking out instead of looking at me and what was going on with me. So that was my first experience of learning how to deal with my emotions and have emotional management. I left treatment then and graduated Cahill after 15 months and went then to live in a recovery house on the North Circular Road called Souvenirs. And if I'm being honest, that's where my recovery journey really started. The staff there are amazing. They get you, they know where you're coming from, they've been through it all themselves. So they know the obstacles that we personally as individuals put in their way when we're trying to our best to progress in an area and we just don't seem to be able to find a way out for ourselves. They open your mind up to all the possibilities that's out there for you. And one of those possibilities was attending FAST, the aftercare programme here in FAST. And I was dead set against it. Didn't want to do it, thought I knew it all, thought I could do it myself. Didn't want anybody else involved in my recovery but me. And when I look back on it now, I actually wasn't in recovery. Just because I wasn't using a drug or any kind of substance didn't mean that I was clean or that I was free or I was living a life of where I had recovered. And I realised that when I came to FAST. I started a 2-year programme here in FAST and the aftercare once a week. I learned a great deal about myself. I learned a great deal about other people. But I also learned what it means to be truly in recovery. And what I mean by that is there's more than one aspect of it. You know what I mean? You get yourself up in the mornings and you can go to work and your day is done. You come home in the evenings and you're doing what it's not all that. It's getting yourself out there into the community and letting people know this is me, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing, and you can do it too. There's a saying in the services, you can't keep unless you have to give it away, you know, like that. And for me, what that meant was those coming behind me, I could let them know how I felt when I started out on my journey and all the obstacles that I personally put in my path. And it was a great eye-opener. I've made great contacts, some very good friends, although they're very few. I keep my circle small, but they're also friends that I can count on if anything goes wrong. If I'm having a bad day, I can ring one of them and say, this is how I'm feeling, and I'm basically told I need a kick up the backside, that I know better. I have the answers myself, you know what I mean? And that's what I learned from being in the community. I went back to live in my own community. I'm originally from the Dolphins Barn area on the south side, and I dreaded walking through that area. But what I realised is, as time went on, there were people coming to me and saying, Jackie, you look great, like, what are you doing? And I was able to sit down and have little chats with them. I also had people coming and asking me, what's it like, how did you do it, and what about the kids and the family, and how did your family react? All sorts of questions. For me, it was about being truthful. You know what I mean? The obstacles that were in my way, the majority of them were my own. I put them there myself. Fear, they were all fear-based. And I just feel that as one individual can get out there and have a chat with people, could be on the bus. I had a chat with a chap, Jesus, about 8 or 9 weeks ago on the bus, who was homeless and was trying to get himself into treatment and all. He was asking me for change. And I said, the biggest thing I can give you, I said, what do you think when you look at me? Do you usually give you a nice person, blah? Would you ever think of an addict? No. And I told him a couple of minutes, 2 minutes of my story. And he put his arms around me and gave me a hug, and he said, you know what? Thanks for that. He said, I really needed that today. If I can do it, this is the way I looked at it. I was a hopeless case. I was caught in a relationship that I didn't know how to get out of. My children are adults. And for years they were saying to me, these are the changes you need to make. And I couldn't see it. When I go back to them now and they tell me stories of whatever it was that I did, I can look at it now and say, they're right. You know what I mean? I had them there all along, and I chose to ignore what I was being told. Never mind from the greater community, but also from my own children. You know, like that. There's many stories out there, and in particular I feel from women, that can tell you, I can't do this. I'm not strong enough to do this. And I look at them and I smile, and they're looking at me saying, what do you find funny? I'm not smiling because I find this funny. I see me in you because I was once where you were. And these are the steps that I took. And if I can help one person, just one, that'll have made my day. It'll have made me year, never mind me day. You know, like that. For me, I think, when I think of the community and being out there among them, there's a lot. There's your day programs, your teachers, your doctors, the guards. They're all part of your community. There's also having places like FAST that you can come to and have a one-to-one session with a key worker or a counsellor or somebody like that. Because these are the people that are going to listen to you and what you have to say. And they're also the people that know how to help you. If there's a lot of closed-mindedness around addiction and recovery. Addicts are seen as the bottom of the barrel, to put it nicely, right? I had last month a bit of an argument with somebody who was calling another person names for whatever reason. And I asked a simple question, what do you think of me? Do you think say for instance, do you think I'm a scumbag? No, I don't. Why would you ask me that? How do you know what went on in my... If you don't think I'm a scumbag, how can you call that girl a scumbag or that boy a scumbag? You don't know what their life has been like. You know what I mean? They also may be the one to help you in the future and pull you up. There's a saying, pull your sister up before she pulls you down. There's another saying, never look down on anybody unless you're helping them up. And to be honest with you, FAST and Finglas and the greater community have a lot to offer when it comes to people trying to access recovery, trying to get ourselves into a more stable routine of being able to get up in the morning and not have to depend on that drug. And it all starts with, I believe, that one word, you know what I mean? Whether it's trying to stabilise on your methadone, going into treatment, doing a detox, you'll always end up back in a community setting. So who's there to help and support you in that community setting? Places like Faster.